Hello everyone! Today we're going to be recapping how to use the phonemic chart.
E. Me, 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 me.
First off, what is the phonemic chart? The phonemic chart is a way of organizing all the possible sounds in English. Not only the sounds, but the phonemes in English. Do you remember what a phoneme is? A phoneme is the smallest unit of speech that makes it possible to make the difference between one word and another. For example, if you have the word toy and boy and koi, the only difference between these three words is one little piece of language. This is what a phoneme is, broadly speaking, of course. Now, why should me, as a teacher, get to know the phonemic chart and use it accordingly? Well, first, because it makes it possible for your students and for yourself to visualize that some sounds do not exist in Portuguese. Some sounds that exist in English do not exist in Portuguese, and vice versa. Oftentimes, we're just trying to adapt a sound that exists in our language to the other one we're learning, and this is not the case. Languages have their own phonemic system, and the phonemic chart organizes them all in a logic way. This is why sometimes English pronunciation gets tricky, especially with the vowels, because the vowel sounds we have there just do not exist in Portuguese. Now, do you remember what a vowel is? What is the difference between a vowel and a consonant? We could find many definitions, but in a broad sense, the difference between a vowel and a consonant is the way you produce these two sounds. So normally when you produce a vowel sound, the airflow that starts here, down in your lungs, and goes up your trachea and gets expelled from your mouth, finds no obstruction. There is no obstruction. You could just say ah, e, ah, o, eh. All of these sounds are vowel sounds. We're not talking about the 5 letters A, E, I, O, U. We're talking about the possible sounds. On the other hand, consonants are sounds that, whenever you try to make them, they find some sort of obstruction in their production. So whenever you're trying to make the sound, the air hits your teeth, or where you have your lips involved, or where the sound sort of explodes. So the sound finds some sort of obstruction. This is basically the general definition. Now, the consonants in English, they're slightly similar to Portuguese, whereas the vowels are very different. We have many vowels that do not exist in English as well, like on, but they do have sounds that we don't have, like a, or or e,
E.
or I. These sounds do not exist in Portuguese. This is why many times it's hard for you to make your students understand how a word is pronounced. And the idea of the phonemic chart is not only for you, teacher, to know how to use it, but also for your students to know how to use it. So you need to understand in what way it is organized. Now, there are many charts that organize the sounds and phonemes of English, but the most famous ones were the ones created by Adrian Underhill. Adrian Underhill put all the 44 sounds of English together in 3 quadrants. His chart is the most famous one because it is the most logical one as well, and it makes it very easy for teachers and students to understand how the sounds are organized, no matter if you're using the British version or the American version. And by no means do I want to imply that we only have 2 versions. There are many varieties of English: Australian English, Irish English, Scottish English, the English people speak in Nigeria, in China, in Brazil. Why not? So these 2 varieties, North American and British, because Britain is very big, so there are many types of Englishes spoken there. But we're talking about standard English in Britain and in standard English in North America. They're the 2 most common varieties you will find whenever you're trying to study phonetics and phonology. So they're good places for you to start improving your students' pronunciations. And my cat's just meowing. So what we learn is that knowing how the phonemic chart works and knowing how to produce these phonemes is not something extra. It's something that all English teachers should know, because many times we will have problems pronouncing words or some specific sounds, but we need to be able to identify where the problem is. There are many resources we can use to help us. Here we have phone apps, just like this one, Sounds, which is great. You can pick whichever version you'd like. If you'd like to practice on the British version or the American version, you will have different layouts, you will have exercises there. And then of course we have many online resources for your computer as well, just like this phonemic chart keyboard, in which you could just like type the phonemes and then copy it and paste to wherever place you're working. Pit, right? And then you can just copy it and paste it. We have like online keyboards in which you have the audio, oh, and then you have examples. It is very important that you make the phonemic symbol visual, and this is why in the 80s we had videos like this, like in which the teacher would try to bring the sound to their body, just like this, something like this.
Shoo!
We might think that this is a little bit extra, but you know, this is actually very useful. Well, we can use our traditional online dictionaries, just like you have this word here, and then you will have the British version, the North American version, and the phonemic transcription. You should start using it.
Teacher.
All right? So whenever you learn a new word, you try and register their phonemic representation, and then you go back to the dictionary, look it up, and check it. Is it correct? Then you're doing fine. We just need to remember that all the phonemes that are organized in these charts, they are rather simple version of the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, which has been made easier for learners to use. But if we don't know how to use it, how do we expect our students to do that? Now, what I want you to do as you progress in your learning is that whenever you register a new word in your journal, in your personal dictionary, whatever you're creating, that you also register how this word is pronounced. Get familiar with the phonetic symbols. Practice this. Identify which sounds you have difficulty with. And pay very close attention to the schwa sound, because this is the most common sound in English, right? This is what it is about. Or I need to check my computer. Pay very close attention to that. And so now there's some activities for you to do. There are some videos you need to watch helping you on how to use the phonemic symbols, how they are organized, which resources you can use. And this is what I want you to do. Have fun. I hope you like it.